Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of Video Game Club. Episode 34 is another one of those special episodes because it is our third side quest game, and the game is going to be The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. If you aren't familiar with side quest is similar to Video Game Club, except we basically play a much longer game over several weeks. So while the regular every 2 weeks Video Game Club game is happening, we kind of sprinkle this one. We get a little playtime in between, and then in like 3 months we talk about said game. As always, I am your host, Tyler, and I have with me today the best sailor this side of the ocean, Austin.
Hello.
How you doing, Austin?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I thought you were going to introduce me as Tingle or something like that. Tingle's best Tingle buddy.
Tingle's Tingle.
Oh my god.
And it would not be a Video Game Club episode without the Princess Zelda of our hearts, Mox.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you.
As a reminder, the nominations for this side quest episode that were suggested included The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, Miitopia, and Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. Would Miitopia have been better than this? Who knows?
Yes, it would have.
Before we get started, Mox, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I feel bad that I didn't play this game recently, like you guys slogged through, and at least I didn't make you play it this time. But
True.
I do have my very fond memories of playing it when it first came out, and I'm excited to share those with you.
And you got to play like half of the remake when it came out, right? Or the
Yeah.
HD version. Yeah. Okay.
That I also have fond memories of, so I think we will differ.
So, before we get started here, what have you guys been playing besides Wind Waker? Starting with you, Austin, what have you been playing?
Actually, so Tyler got to come visit me here in Texas
Aw,
last
best
weekend.
friends!
I did.
And we got to play all sorts of stuff. We
Aw.
beat Goof Troop and Magical
Oh my
Quest 3. We played through the new Monkey Ball game.
Oh my
that came out,
gosh.
the main campaign of that. So that was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
Other than that, I'm working a little bit on Metroid Dread, and there's this really stupid game that came out over the weekend called Get Your Tesla Safety Score Up for the full self-driving beta. So I worked on that for the last couple of days, but now I'm at 100, baby!
Yo.
Can you just drive around?
I'll go more into detail offline with you, if you like.
It just sounds like it mirrors your journey in Wind Waker a little bit.
No, I had a lot more fun doing that.
Don't
the
forget,
car
Austin,
part.
that we've been playing Pokemon Go as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, technically, I played a little bit of that. Trying to complete the OG 151. Got me a Horsey evolved into a Seadra. Woohoo! Check it off the list.
I had some Mr.
Tyler sent
Mimes
me a
from
Mr. Mime.
Yeah, I had
Wow.
some from Europe.
And Lena got to give him a
Farfetch'd.
Farfetch'd.
Yep.
Wow. What an experience.
Big trades be
Yeah.
happening. Big trades.
Big old trades.
Mox, what have you been playing? Don't say
I-
Final Fantasy 14.
Okay, well I won't, or I figure I'm not allowed to say Genshin Impact either. I started Death Stranding. It's a lot of walking.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had to get a new controller. You
You
have
did.
to like grip the triggers.
Yep.
And I want to get like rubber bands and just put them.
Yeah, that is a thing that we will talk about when we talk about that game, but you can like just walk regularly, and then whenever it says like lean this way, press this button, lean this way, or you can just hold the triggers the whole time and be fine.
Yeah.
And there's no penalty, so it's kind of
It doesn't like tank your stamina or anything.
no, it
No,
does
it
not.
just hurts your hands.
Wow.
Yeah, just your real life stamina.
Yeah. I'm gonna have like, I don't know, finger muscles of steel at the end of this side quest.
You darn
Dude,
right.
You could get some tech decks and just like go to
Oh
town.
my god, tech decks. Do they still make those?
Oh yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow.
They have to. I have been playing a little bit of everything. I've been playing New World, which is Amazon's MMO that came out. It's pretty fun. It reminds me a lot of RuneScape. And I've been playing a lot of old school RuneScape as well, because they released the group Iron Man, which has been really fun, just to like revisit with my buddies. I did start Death Stranding as well. I'm not quite as far as Mox is, but I'm slowly getting there. And this is my second playthrough with the director's cut, and I really like what they do with the haptic feedback on the controller. It's been really nice so far. And the music when it comes in. What's interesting is I'm noticing like little things that were in the original version that aren't. Like some of them are kind of known already. Like Monster Energy drink isn't in the director's cut, but it was in the like original as a sponsor. But then other things like whenever the music comes on, I'm pretty sure it just showed like the title and the artist, and now it shows like the title, artist, and the label.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
And I don't
Do
think
they still show
that happened in the first one.
Do they still show ads for Norman Reedus's
They
ride?
do. They
Yes.
do. Yes, they do. Yep.
Who the fudge cares about that?
Oh my god.
That was probably like, I'll be in your game if you, I can imagine that was part of the contract or something. Either way, it's just, it's great.
I
No.
could even imagine Kojima just being like, "Oh yeah, let's just advertise your show. We got
He
Monster in here. Who cares?"
Yeah.
I'm getting really tired of listening to Norman Reedus grunt and talk to himself.
Well, he's all alone.
But
He's got a baby.
I wish I could turn a beat.
Have you yelled out yet?
No.
Okay, well, you'll see. You'll get there. All right. Anyway, as I mentioned before, this is Video Game Club, where every 2 weeks we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord and discuss that game right here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV. If you can't catch us live, don't worry your little heart, because you can find this on YouTube and all major podcast services. Just search Bombchu Video Game Club. Don't worry, you'll find it through the power of search. Now, let's jump into The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Not Wind Waker, The Wind Waker.
Today I learned. There's
Yep.
a the.
There is a the. The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker is an action-adventure game developed and published by our good friends Nintendo. I'm joking, we don't have any connections with Nintendo. But developed and published by Nintendo. Released initially in Japan, December 13th, 2002. Came to North America March 24th, 2003. What was going on 2003 in gaming? And I added a little section to this bit that I don't usually say. So strap in, gonna be a little surprise for you. Hardware, the Game Boy Advance SP. Did anybody pick it up? The old SP?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
I loved the SP.
That's great.
It was amazing. It folded, it had a lit screen. Like, what's not to love?
It
can
was a
recharge it.
front lit screen,
But
it had no headphone port. It was it's a lot like the phone I have right now. It folds in half. It has no headphone jack, and the charging port gets taken up if you want to use a headphone jack.
listen to Austin flex on us with his foldy phone right now. Jeez.
Just tried it out.
The N-Gage came out.
Oh,
I don't even know
I
what
wanted
that
it
is.
so bad.
And then the PSP prototype was shown off at some event as well this year. It wasn't released, but just starting to get out there. I had one and I loved it so much.
Oh my god, yeah. Being able to throw music in there.
Oh yeah, music, movies, the whole kit and caboodle is great. I thought was really interesting. The Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Game Boy, and Game Boy Color all stopped production this year.
Oh.
Why?
That's a sad story.
Why were they? Do you think they were just making replacement parts, or they were the warranties were still it's possible that somehow I don't know. It's so weird.
I do recall, now that you bring that up, I recall every once in a while getting on Nintendo's support website to get a controller fixed or something like that.
Like you do.
Or you could even order new controllers from their website for the old systems for a long time. So that's kind of wild. Yeah, they were probably just making replacement parts and supporting those.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Now the new section, I want to talk about events that happened that were related to gaming in 2003. This was the year that Squaresoft and Enix merged.
Ah.
Yeah. It was
What a
also
great year.
Yeah, it was also the year that Steam was out of beta.
Wow.
Yeah, and the 3DO company went bankrupt. and Obsidian was founded.
Oh, blessed
So-
year.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Some software that came out this year: the original Call of Duty, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, Beyond Good and Evil, Rise of Nations, Enter the Matrix, Sonic Adventure DX for GameCube. I think it's important that we call that out. Silent Hill 3, Mario Party 5, Mario Kart Double Dash 13, and many, many more games. I was loving 2003.
Oh yeah.
13 years old, playing me some Double Dash. It's a good time. And the engine that this was made in is a custom engine, but I'm pretty sure this engine was used for the next game in the Zelda series, which would be Twilight Princess.
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
So let's dive into the Wind Waker a bit more. So this is the 10th installment of the Zelda series. It's an open world action adventure game with some very light role-playing elements, if you want to call that.
My goodness.
Whoops. Sorry about that. The control scheme is very much like previous Zelda games that were in third-person 3D. It's a Zelda game, right? Like Link has a sword and shield. He interacts with certain NPCs and things. It has
Goes to dungeons, finds an item.
Yeah, it has
a utility item of some sort.
Yeah, it has a target, the old Z targeting system where you can lock on. The main new feature of this game was that you can move the camera around Link. So cool.
How novel.
Right? Gosh, so cool. The game world is a big sea with little islands and little things all over it. It's in a grid. I think it's 7x7, I believe. Some of it like has to be explored in order to like move the story forward, but a lot of it is optional. There's several dungeons, like Austin already mentioned. Dungeons usually at the end have some sort of big boss, and after beating that big boss, or before you beat that big boss, you get some sort of item that is used, that you will use on that boss, or that you will use to get to like another dungeon in the future. There is some items in here that I didn't really use, like the Picto Box. Did you guys use that at all?
No.
Well, yeah, you gotta get the statues.
What do you mean?
What?
The statues that you take pictures of?
You can turn them in to get statues at
I didn't know
outside
that.
of what is the Korok Forest, you know, place?
Yeah.
You can turn them in and get statues.
Oh.
But you can't take Pictobox pictures of like bosses, for example, so you have to buy those pictures first.
Yeah, I know there's some quests around the Picto Box, but I just it's on like that first island that you go to, Windfall Island. There's a guy there and he has a camera and he gives it to you and stuff. Yeah.
He'll sell you pictures of things you can't take pictures of. Get the statues.
A lot of things from this game, like I can see like went into Breath of the Wild, and we can talk about that when we get there, but it's really interesting. A significant portion of this game is spent sailing. Like a very large significant portion of this game.
It's on an ocean. What else are you supposed to do?
I mean, fair.
Well, sure. It's just, if that's going to be the main thing that you do, like maybe put some stuff to do on the ocean or make sailing kind of fun in some way.
But you can collect rupees on your way with barrels. Don't worry about your pockets being too small. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's okay that I'm totally full on rupees.
Oh,
here's
gosh.
one. Here's another 1 rupee. You want to get another 1 rupee?
Gosh. It has something that's really interesting is that your map is completely like blank whenever you initially get it, and you have to give these fish some bait, and they will like color your map for you and give you some hints about that island or like maybe another part of the sea, which I thought was really interesting. You also can acquire something called treasure charts, which are used to get treasure chests that are underwater. Some of them are have stuff that would be really nice to have, like heart pieces. Most of them are just rupees. and I'm sure we will talk a lot about why rupees are kind of a waste in this game, but that will happen later. Early in the game, you get a baton, which is called the Wind Waker. It's like a baton that like a conductor would use. That has a word that's not baton. I cannot think of it.
It's a baton.
Stick.
Is that what it's called? Okay, baton. We're calling it a conductor stick, if you will.
Now I need to look it up. Conductor baton.
You do a certain combination of directions. It's very similar to the ocarina, right, Austin?
It's very similar to the ocarina, with the exception being that you have to do it as like a timed thing. In Ocarina of Time, it was just play the notes, and here there's like a tempo that you have to follow.
Yep.
And there's like timings and stuff like that where you can change the timing scale for the song.
But yeah, that is, we're not going to go deep into the story right now, but as far as like the mechanics of the game, that's kind of it for the most part. You get some items that we already mentioned, like to help you get through other stuff. So like you'll get like a grappling hook and a leaf that acts as like a glider, stuff like that. Bombs, of course, bow and arrow. It's a regular Zelda game, right? Like it's got all the things, all the things be there. So let's talk a bit about the development of this game, which is pretty interesting because this was quite a shift from the Ocarina of Time. This is the game that followed the Ocarina of Time, right? Or Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Those two games. So this game was in development very early, even before like Majora's Mask was completed. They started development on this game. The director of Majora's Mask, I don't know how to pronounce his first name.
Eiji Aonuma?
Yeah, Eiji Aonuma. He returned to from Majora's Mask to lead Wind Waker. And Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka served as producers of this game. There were this has a really interesting story because I'm sure everyone here has heard of like Space World and showing off of the GameCube and stuff. Austin, were you like paying attention to news at that time, like video game news and stuff? Yeah.
Do
you remember?
I do not know what you're talking about.
Oh, really? Okay, so Nintendo had like an event at this thing called Space World, which I don't.
It was kind of like their own personal version of E3.
Yeah. And they
back when that was just like it was a totally normal thing at the time.
Whenever they were announcing the GameCube, they showed like a clip of Link fighting Ganondorf, and everyone thought like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the new Zelda, and this was basically just like an early concept that was kind of following along like the Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask design that just had enhanced graphics for the GameCube, just to show it off, be like, look what the GameCube can do, guys, look at it, look. And everyone was like, oh my, I remember people freaking out about this, and I watched this video clip several times over and over and over on my very super slow internet. And the video was like, what, 240p or something? It was ridiculous.
It probably took an hour to download.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I sure watched it, and I remember just being like, this is the future. It's so crazy. But Aonuma hated the demo, and he didn't like that it was just like a derivative of past Zelda games. So they explored some other directions. There was a designer, Yoshiki Haruhana, who created a cartoonist drawing of young Link, and that really caught their eye. And then another designer drew up like a moblin in like a similar style, and they were like, yes, this is what we want. We want this stylized like cartoon aesthetic. There's more to it than that, but obviously this is just like a summarized version. So in order to achieve this look, they used cell shading on 3D models to give the look of like an interactive cartoon. And I'll explain that, like how basically like critics really loved this look. And we'll talk about
not initially. Initially, a lot of people were really bad.
Yeah. So once they made this decision on like, okay, it's going to be like a cell shaded game, it's going to have this style, etc. They started developing very quickly on the game. They quickly decided that the setting would be islands in an ocean, because it would provide really interesting like visuals and mechanics with this like cel-shaded style. Then there was another demo that was shown at 2001 Space World. Now keep in mind, 2000 Space World, they were like, this is what the GameCube can do. Look at this adult Link. He's so mature. He's so cool. And then they showed a demo for Wind Waker. And some people liked it. A lot of people did not. They really wanted the more realistic Zelda that was shown at 2000 Space World. And I remember this time very, very fondly. And I remember just being like, I was just like, well, this is weird. That was my take on it. It wasn't that I was like disappointed or not excited. I just thought it was like really weird that they went from mature to this like childish looking Zelda, which critics would dub Zelda, like because it's cel shaded.
That's great.
Austin, do you remember like your reaction to this?
I'm trying to remember how I felt.
Or
I
maybe
think
in your
at the
friend
time
group.
I had been really obsessed with Zelda, just because I had been playing it since I could remember. Like I grew up with Link to the Past, and it was so wild to go 3D with Ocarina of Time. And Majora's Mask I had gotten really hyped about, and kind of fell off before finishing the first dungeon. And so when this was coming out, I can't remember what I was feeling exactly, but I had it pre-ordered. Like I knew I was going to get it day one. I went for I got the cool pre-order bonuses, the GameCube disc of Ocarina of Time and Master Quest and the wall scroll and all this stuff. So I was lined up to get it day one. But I can't remember how I felt at the announcement. I remember it was weird that it wasn't the tech demo that they had shown off the year before, though.
Yeah. So disappointed then, for sure, right?
I mean, I maybe puzzled.
Yeah, that makes sense. 2002, so this is like another year has gone by. At E3, Miyamoto introduced a playable demo of the game. They also had Four Swords Adventures as well at that E3. But anyway, while he was playing the demo, he encountered some glitches, but he attempted to demonstrate that this new ability that enemies would drop their weapons and then Link could pick them up and use them. That was definitely used in Breath of the Wild for sure. It's a big part of that game. But yeah, he showed that off, and the reception was more positive than the Space World demo, but the art direction of the game definitely continued to divide people. They kept on developing the game, and they were targeting release 2002 in Japan, 2003 in North America, which they did hit, as I mentioned before when the game came out. 2 dungeons fell behind schedule and were cut and replaced instead with the quest to recover Triforce pieces around the Great Sea. I'm sure we will talk about that in our review of how exciting that was. Elements of these dungeons, though, were recycled for later Zelda games. And while the game was released initially in Japan and then it came to North America, they did rework some things for the North American release. That seems to be the case with a lot of Nintendo games, at least in this time. And like the 64, they would release it in Japan first, and then they would make some improvements before they released it in the West. That seems to be a pattern. But they shortened the lengthy Triforce quest apparently. So
for the US version,
yeah. And I think
it got shortened again for the HD version.
Yeah, I know.
Or it made a little less tedious.
Yeah, less tedious. Yeah. So yeah, that's like the development, in a nutshell of this game. Is there anything you guys want to add that you know about the development or want to share or anything?
There was not Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker 2 planned.
There was.
For a bit.
There was.
What would it be about?
It would have taken place entirely on land.
You're kidding.
Nope, no joke.
Oh my god, what a waste.
Jeez. Alright, so now let's talk about this plot. I'm going to put the spoiler tag on. The Wind Waker takes place in the New World timeline, and we were talking about this before the stream. There's... okay, so
I don't think we decided on it.
After Ocarina of Time, there's basically, the timeline splits in like 3 directions. But there's an event that happens. So Ganon is either defeated or not defeated. I guess like the hero is defeated, right? Or not defeated.
I don't know.
I think that's the main split. Anyway, it splits. And then Austin, I feel like you had the best grasp of it. Do you want to...
So, in the event that the hero is successful, that creates 2 timelines on its own. So, also spoilers for Ocarina of Time, I guess, if you haven't played that.
What was that? What that game count? 98. They have had enough time.
Yeah, I'm just, you got to give people a little warning.
Yeah.
So that game takes place in 2 different time periods. There's like Child Link, and then 7 years in the future, Adult Link, where everything's gone to hell because Ganon took over the land. So you defeat Ganon as Adult Link. Big spoilers, oh my god, you defeat Ganon. But when that happens, Link travels back in time, back to being a child, and also kind of foils Ganondorf's plans before they can happen. And so this creates 2 different timelines. Like the future time where he's defeated Ganon still continues on, where the land has been ravaged and everything has to keep going. But there's also now this other timeline where Ganondorf is stopped. That's the one that leads to Majora's Mask. The one where everything went to hell, but Ganon was finally finished off is the timeline that leads to Wind Waker, where the land gets flooded and...
because Ganon gets resurrected.
No matter what timeline you go to, Ganon's gonna get resurrected.
Well, true. But yeah, they... So the... Like Austin mentioned, everything gets flooded. People live on islands in this great sea. Link's story is like seen as like this legend. In fact, there's like a tradition of dressing up like the hero, and this is like the first thing that happens when playing the game is that you're given like the green tunic and
garb.
Like, oh, the garb.
The hero's garb.
And it's, you need to dress because it's you're a man now, so this is what you wear. Blah blah blah. I don't think it's meant to be worn permanently, but he kind of wears it permanently. I don't think it's like one of those things, because then every male would be wearing this, right?
I think he's supposed to wear it for that day.
It's just like that day, yeah.
Because that's his birthday.
And then his sister, though.
Yeah, then events happen, and it's like, I don't have time to change.
Yeah. So while he's...
Unless you want to replay the game in your pajamas.
While he's celebrating...
Which you do.
This... By the way, if you do second quest, I think you start wearing this outfit, I believe.
No, the hero's clothes are invisible. So you wear your pajamas the whole time.
Oh, really? Oh, the other way around?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So like Austin kind of started to hint at it. You're celebrating your coming of age, and while this is going on, a gigantic bird comes and drops this pirate captain named Tetra into the forest. You go and rescue Tetra from the monsters, and then at that point, the bird carries off Link's sister, Ariel?
I completely forgot her name.
Ariel.
I think it's Ariel.
So, what a horrible name.
What's wrong with Ariel?
I like it.
Say it. It's terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Ariel.
Tetra
Ariel.
agrees
It's
to
the
help.
name of Ron's bird in Harry Potter. Ariel. Sorry.
Tetra agrees to help Link find his sister. They go to the Forsaken Fortress. That's where the bird is, and that's where all these girls have been, with long ears, keep getting taken to. Funny. He finds his sister and a bunch of other kidnapped girls, but he gets captured and he's thrown into the sea. He's he's rescued at Windfall Island. By talking to a boat who is the King of Red Lions, who explains that Ganon's back, and to defeat him you have to find the 3 pearls of the goddesses. So you go around and you find these 3 pearls. Each pearl is like found on like a different like island, but the island is also like a different like region, kind of like they're trying to like, one is like this mountainous volcano and it's where the Rito live. One is a forest, and it's where the Deku tree is, and the Koroks and stuff. And then the last one's kind of weird because it's kind of like isn't it like just like in a mountain, kind of like built in the island, and it's like a water area. Pretty sure. You guys know what I'm talking about?
That sounds right, and I'm completely blanking on how I got that pearl.
Yeah. What's interesting is like all that happens like pretty fast, it seems like, and then the game kind of starts to slow down. At least that was my experience.
Up until there, you have a clear direction of where you need to go next.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
To get the last one, you just have to get bombs and free the fish. I don't think there's a dungeon.
You don't think so? Okay, could be. I think you're right, actually, Mox. I think you're right. Then since you have all the pearls, you can now go to the Tower of the Gods. Then after doing that, you go into the ocean and you see a castle that has been suspended in time. And that castle is the high.
It is, oh my god. Yes, wow, surprising.
The Hyrule Castle. There you find the Hero of Time's weapon. It's just a little dagger called the Master Sword. You take the Master Sword, then you go back to the Forsaken Fortress because you have the Master Sword. Now it's time to rescue everybody. You did the work. It's gonna happen. You're ready. But unfortunately, the Master Sword lost all its power. So it does nothing to Ganon at all. You do fight him for like a little bit. Well, I guess in a cutscene you fight him.
You look at him.
And then Ganon looks over at Tetra and sees that she has a Triforce necklace. And then he realizes that she is the incarnation of Princess Zelda that he is seeking. The girl with the pointy ears, it's the captain of the ship the whole time. You end up getting saved by the Rito, and then also this dragon named Valu, who's awesome, by the way.
You help him earlier.
Yeah, you do. You scratch his back, he scratch yours. Yeah, it's awesome. Then you go back to the underwater realm. The King of Red Lions, gosh, turns out that he is the last king of Hyrule. He reveals himself to you, and then he reveals like, okay, you got to power up the sword, and the way you do it is you have to, like, I don't know. Does he tell you directly? I can't remember if he tells you like exactly what to do.
He directs you to two spots,
like two done,
but
yeah,
like they aren't even necessarily like. You get some mild direction.
So you get some mild direction. You then go to these dungeons that are like pointed out to you. But before you can go in them, you have to find like it's weird because there's like you basically like they have like these spirits that are tied to these dungeons that you need. And there's like someone living today that is somehow like connected to that spirit. And it's all around music. Right.
And you also need some special items to get into those two spots anyways, like before you even go get those people.
Yes. And
they're presented like you can do them in either order, and you can't. You have to do them in a specific order.
Yes, that was really frustrating. And then once you have those two things, your sword is still not powerful enough. You need to put together the Triforce of Courage, which is broken into 8 shards. You go all over the place hunting for these 8 shards. In the GameCube version, I believe whenever you go, you hunt, you get just a map of where the shard is, and then you have to pay a tingle to like read the map for you, decipher it, yeah, so that you can then go find it in the ocean. Versus in the...
And it's expensive.
Yes.
It's like, what is it, 398 rupees or something like that?
Yeah, per decipher. And your initial wallet can only hold 500. Or 100, actually. But you get like almost, I think in the GameCube one, it's 100. And then the Wind Waker and the HD, you start with 500. Something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is just even more crazy. But in the HD one, you actually don't have to decipher all of them. You just have to decipher 3 of them. But still, it's still kind of like a trek to find all the pieces. One of them is really interesting. It's about this like ship that
Ghost ship.
it's a ghost ship, and it's only available on certain like moon phases and certain squares. So you have to like go to the right square at the right moon phase. However, once you can fast forward time, you can just sit in one place and just fast forward time until that moon phase happens and at your square, which is really interesting and kind of cheating, but whatever. Okay, you now have a super powerful sword. You then go to Ganon's tower. You defeat Ganon's minions, the phantom ones.
Just one sec here.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time after Zelda it's revealed that Tetra was Zelda, she goes to where you get the Master Sword, and she just waits there until you collect everything. Then you go, and she's instantly just zapped away. When she turns into Zelda, she just like nothing for the rest. Like as Tetra, she's like, "Oh, I'm being a pirate, going around on this ship, doing all this stuff." And as soon as she turns into Zelda, it's just like, "All right, let's not have her do anything."
I mean, she's royalty, you know. She can't lift a finger.
Why can't we have used the ship and sailed around instead of using our tiny little boat? Why?
Yeah, use her ship. That would have been great.
That would have been really cool.
It's like the Eagles and the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, gosh. So you go fight Ganon. On the way, you get the light arrows, which are like super strong arrows that you only get at the end. You eventually get, after you fight like this weird Ganon puppet thing.
Puppet Ganon.
What's it called?
Puppet Ganon.
Puppet Ganon.
It's like he turns into that, instead of turning into a pig.
Yeah, the Puppet Ganon was kind of annoying, but once you fight...
The music's awesome.
Yeah. Once you fight Puppet Ganon, you then fight Ganon himself, and you lose your bow. You give it to Zelda for some reason. You're just like, no, Zelda, now you do something.
You don't even make the decision. She's just like, I'm taking this. This is my bow.
Let me handle this for you. And Zelda shoots Ganon with these light arrows, gives you like an opportunity to strike him with the Master Sword. The final blow is insane because don't you like stab him in the face?
In the head.
Yeah, right through the head.
Gosh, it's nuts. Ganon turns to stone because you've destroyed him or sealed him. Link and Tetra rise to the surface. You reunite with your friends, and then you sail off. Is that...
Oh, also, the King of Red Lions turned out to be the King of Hyrule.
Yeah.
He said that.
He
wishes on the Triforce.
They revealed that a little before, whenever he's like, now you need to go blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And basically, you're like, yeah, we're going to go make Hyrule. This is the new land. He's like, no. Just make it a new land.
Yeah.
Screw Hyrule. Hyrule's gone.
That does happen at the end. Right. Like, go ahead, Max.
They gather, I was going to say they gathered, they have all the Triforce bearers there, Ganon and Link and Zelda. And so, of course, anybody who assembles all of the shards of all the triangles gets to make a wish. And just as Ganon is about to make his wish,
the king
wishes that their kingdom be buried underwater forever. So as the water is like filling old Hyrule. It's cool.
Yeah. Also, I know there's going to be some people in the audience who are going to be like cringing super hard about Ganondorf versus Ganon. Yeah, it is Ganondorf. It's hard to just say. We know there's a difference. It's hard to stick to when to say which one correctly, but you know what we mean. But we are aware of it, so just
deal with it.
Don't
calm
freak out
down.
too hard.
Put your pitchforks away.
I'm sorry, but yes, we do know there's a difference.
We love you though.
So yeah, that is the story in a nutshell. Is there anything spoilery that you would like to speak on?
The story, I think it's continued in Phantom Hourglass, just as a side.
Barely.
And Spirit Tracks.
Spirit Tracks,
right?
Not, well, kind of. Like I think it's in that same timeline, but Spirit Tracks is 100 years later.
Okay.
I was going to say that I liked the queen, the goddess queen. I don't remember what she is, but she's like a little girl that controls all the goddesses, like a puppet. She gives you one of the arrow types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
I
that.
totally forgot about that as well.
Oh, he's a puppet master.
Huh.
Little girl. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Let's turn off the spoiler tag. Let's talk about the release and reception of this game. So, whenever this game was coming out, there was a promotion that offered a bonus disc as a pre-order incentive, which included the GameCube port of Ocarina of Time, as well as a previously unreleased expansion called Zelda, or Zelda, which was don't worry, it'll make sense here in a second. We know Zelda, which is an adaptation of Ocarina of Time with some changes, including new dungeon challenges, was developed for the 64DD peripheral, but was shelved when the system failed. Everyone here in North America and Europe knows Zelda as Master Quest.
Ah,
I think I pre-ordered Wind Waker because just to get
a lot of people did.
I had been following that development for ages and wanted to play it so badly.
I have it incidentally. I want it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So how did this game review? Well, it was extremely positive critically.
Yay!
Extremely positive. Won several awards. People really loved the visuals. They said they were similar to Disney or like Miyazaki. And I mean, the visuals do look really nice. They really liked that Link was so expressive, like with his face, and all the cutscenes. They liked the details of the game, the environments, the combat, the controls, the puzzles. They liked that it was similar to Ocarina of Time. They really enjoyed the dungeons. Those are some things that people liked. Some things that people called out as like, was the lack of voice acting, that there was a lot of sailing, that it did appear to be a bit childish because it was too easy. And I feel like this game is too easy. I mean, it's pretty easy, right? It's pretty accessible as far as ease goes.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. I did not finish a full container of heart pieces, which is very abnormal for me in a Zelda game, and I don't think... If I died, it was maybe like 1 or 2 times total. There was never a time where I didn't need to use bottled fairies or anything like that.
Yeah. So, how did it sell? Well, it was the most successful pre-order in Nintendo history at that time, but it did have disappointing sales despite pre-orders being so high. And I think, Austin, you're right that I think a lot of people did probably pre-order it the same reason you did, which was to get the Master Quest from Ocarina of Time. But it sold 4.6 million copies compared to Ocarina of Time, which sold 7.6 million. So, quite less than Ocarina of Time. A direct sequel was initially planned on the GameCube, but that was canceled. But there are 2 sequel-ish games that came to DS, so Phantom Hourglass, which we kind of talked a little bit about, and then Spirit Tracks. And Toon Link also shows up in Minish Cap as well. He's in
as well as Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures and Triforce. They use Toon Link a lot now that I think about it.
And Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and Super Smash.
Yeah.
In 2013, there was a HD version released for the Wii U. That's the version that I played, and I think, Austin, you played as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was greenlit despite the mixed reception of the initial game, so the game was critically received really well, but as far as just general public, people were really mixed about it because of the art direction, and that shows in the sales numbers, right? The HD version included the Swift Sail, which allows you to sail a little bit faster. Austin, did you?
And without changing the wind.
Yeah, did you get the Swift Sail?
Eventually, I got it really late in the game because I didn't know it was in there. They don't really tell you anything about it.
They don't.
And you mentioned it. At some point, I finally had to ask, when the hell do I get this? And for how long... Well, even once I knew about the Swift Sail, for how long it took me to get it, because the process is really tedious and annoying. Yeah. I don't know if it was worth it for the point of the game that I was at, but it was nice to have once I had it. I would say if you play the HD version, go get the Swift Sail as soon as you can, which is after the first dungeon. Go look up how to get the Swift Sail and get that immediately.
Yeah. It also improved the Triforce Collecting, which we already talked about, how you don't have to get a map for each one and decipher it. Some of them you just get. So
You have to get 3 of the maps, but instead of 8.
Which
is a lot better.
A lot better. Is there anything?
What else did the Wii U version also added? With I forget what it was called, the now defunct like social network that they had.
Oh,
Miiverse.
Yes, it was the best. You could take little selfies, and of course, what you just said with how like emotive Link was, you could change your face using the Picto Box, and then take selfies in front of things and post it and send them out in little bottles. And then when you're sailing, you could pick them up from other players.
I did not get to participate in that because it's discontinued.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it was sad.
It also removed a feature from the original, which was the Tingle Tracker.
The Tingle
which
Tuner!
I feel like,
the Tingle Tuner.
the Tingle Tuner. And that seems like it would have been a really great thing to have on like the Wii U gamepad.
Oh my god, the only reason to
as like
have
a second player. Yeah.
I love.
I don't know. So like
that was a GBA thing, right? Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the original, you could link up a GBA to the GameCube, and if you found the Tingle Tuner, then somebody on there could I forget all the things you could do.
Oh my god, you
but
could bomb,
like
you can give hearts.
You could do bombs and hearts, yeah. It was just kind of a cool way for like a second person to assist and play along. But
yeah.
I don't know why they removed that.
Probably because you could cheat with it. I don't know, I assume because it's like the number one thing that you do. They're called zombie hovers in the speed run.
Oh yeah.
The game is so
easy already.
I don't know why they would worry about cheating.
They always do. They always take out things that people use in speed runs.
Not in Breath of the Wild. They like intentionally put stuff in that people could abuse.
Oh, that's nice. They patched out everything else.
So let's talk about our personal takes. Mox, you didn't play the re-release, and you didn't play it this time, but you did play it when it first came out.
Yes.
Go back in time. Tell us how you felt and how you remember that experience.
I loved it. I love games like I really like, JRPGs where you grind a lot, you do the same thing over and over again, and it's kind of mindless. And that's like, I don't know, 75% of this game. You just put the wind on and then just sail off into the blue. And I also like the exploration factor. Like, I don't know, maybe you like have to go to, what is the grid, 5x5, so 25 squares, or is it more than that?
No, it's more than that.
How many? I don't remember. 7x7?
We think it's 7x7.
I'm pretty sure it's 7x7.
Well, so like 49 squares, you probably only have to go to like, I don't know, 7 of them maybe for story reasons. And so you have to go to all the other ones though, and you have to talk to the fish to get your map, and then there's always things, and there's so many little side quests you can do, and like talk to the people, and all the people are fun.
All the people are awful.
They're not fun at all.
They're all rude and terrible.
I'm talking about like the teacher. You go to like, so the teacher of the little kids on.
She's one nice person on that island.
Anyway.
Everyone else on that island is
especially
jerk.
the kids.
Yes, they are awful, aren't they? But she lets you go to her little private island, and it has a whole little dungeon there.
Yeah, and has a little puzzle you can play for rupees.
Yeah,
I just love all those fun little things. Or you could do the sploosh. That guy, did you go play his game?
Oh yeah, that was like one time, but that was fun. Yeah.
Oh, it was fun. I just loved all the little things that you could do and just talk to people and deliver things and do stuff like that. There's a lot of charm in the game. And I like. Oh, go ahead.
What would your nostalgia like? What do you give your nostalgic experience? Like,
I'm gonna separate it because I really like. I mean, the original one. I just played the game, and I really enjoyed. Like, are you? Sorry, I interrupted you. Am I reading it out of 10?
Yeah. Keep going, girl.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I really liked the original one. I just loved, it was kind of just zen playing on my own on my little GameCube, sailing along, listening to the music. Soundtrack's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd give it like, I don't know, honestly, probably a 9.
Jeez.
I love the zen. So
you love just like going sailing, going to the next square just to see what's there. Feed the fish the bait.
Sail
the fish and Beetle.
Oh,
Beetle this little boat.
Yeah, where he's.
Thank you. Oh, loved him. But then I just loved the Miiverse feature in the Wii U version, which in and of itself I'd give an 11 out of 10 because it was the best use of that feature ever.
Dang.
And then they took it away.
Dang.
For no reason.
Crazy.
That's it. That's my only.
Well, no one was using it, but
I was. Okay, that's all I have to say.
It was just Mox. It was Mox alone using it. She was talking.
Just 100 bottles.
She would get bottles from herself. Like, oh, that's me.
oh, this is so cute.
Who did such a thing? Me. I thought this game. I really like the art style of this game, and I like the music, and I liked the controls. I thought they were like mostly pretty tight. I was not a huge fan of the dungeons. Maybe I'm just like not a big Zelda person. I don't know. The only Zelda game that I have finished 100% to completion is Breath of the Wild, and now this one. I've dabbled in all of them, but this is, I don't know. These are the only two, and I don't know. Maybe the dungeons were good, but maybe dungeons aren't for me. I don't know. I didn't really like the navigation, like the overall loop of the game of like sailing, and I feel like there wasn't that much to do while you were sailing. So most of the time I would just like go in a direction, and then I would just like sit there, and I would like check Twitter, and then I'm there, yay.
Oh my gosh.
In the beginning it was nice, but then afterwards I'm like, hey, I'll just chill, listen to the music until I get to where I need to be. The story was kind of just like okay. I also didn't like going back to the Forsaken Fortress over and over and over again. I hated that place. Just was not cool. I do, looking back, like I'm starting to think that maybe, so I kind of rushed this a bit because I was trying to finish it in time, and I wanted to make sure I finished it before I left to visit Austin. And I don't know. I was just like trying to get a lot of it done, and work has been kind of crazy. So I do realize that I may have rushed this like a bit, and I think that may have tainted my experience a little bit, because if I would have had more time, I would have been like, oh, now today I'll go to like this square, and I'll, give bait to the fish, and he'll tell me what's here, and he'll give me a hint, and I'll like follow that hint, and I'll write this down, and stuff like that. I think it would have been like probably a better experience for me, but with the experience that I had playing it this time, I would give this a 6 out of 10. It's just not for me. I don't want to play this game ever again. I don't mind listening to the music again, but I don't really want to play it ever again. I'm glad I played it, but not again. That's basically where I'm at. Austin, what are your takes on Wind Waker, this beloved game?
Okay, so this is like my 5th time starting this game. I've started it a bunch of times because I've always said, okay, this time's gonna be the time I actually go finish the game. And the intro always turns me off, like it just every time. You get your sword, and they're like, okay, go to the first dungeon. They go, all right, well, you don't have a sword anymore. Like first dungeon out of the bat, they take your sword away. Drives me crazy. The intro music, I don't like. What? That's going to be a controversial take. Whoa. I apologize. I do like some of the music in the game, but that first song, like when I've been going through the series up until now, just like loving all the music, and this is just this. Oh man, that drove me crazy.
I love that song.
Me too, I love it.
The series up until now has been like pretty serious, and like the very first cutscene they do is like, you, by the way, are not Link. You're just some kid.
That highly resembles
There was some other
Link.
guy in history who was Link. Like, that's who you were in the past. Now you are not that guy. You are just some kid. And it's like, damn, okay. And a lot of stuff just kind of seems to be... I can appreciate when a game doesn't take itself too seriously. I think this one goes a little too far into the silly zone, considering like how intense some of the story stuff was, especially like in Ocarina of Time. A lot of what made that game so cool was just like they had a lot of very cinematic moments in the story that was just like, I think that was just a really well crafted story for a Zelda game, Ocarina of Time. And here it was just like, whatever, just go do whatever you want. The sailing, like you said, the first time I went out to sail, it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like the ocean looks nice. You get the cool music as you're traveling along. And then it turns out, yeah, like you said, there's really just nothing to do while you're going to a specific location. there was one point I had to travel like way across the map, and I had been kind of realizing, I was like, most of the time, if an enemy shows up, I can just ignore it and I'll end up bypassing them. I straight up went to the kitchen
Oh my gosh.
for 5 minutes to go make myself some food. Every once in a while, I'd look over and nothing was happening. And I came back and nothing had happened to my ship.
Oh my
Just
God.
nothing. It was totally fine. As soon as I got the Song of Gales, I think it is, whatever song allows you to like fast travel around, that was nice because I didn't have to deal with just sailing all over the place. Most of the rewards in the game, to like if you went out of your way to go do something, the rewards would be rupees. And I guess in the original you needed all those rupees way later, once you got like your wallet built up and you needed to go do like the charts. But I was constantly capped out on rupees and getting rewards, like one-time rewards that were rupees, or they would be a treasure chart. They'd be like, hey, you did this kind of tough challenge. Here's a treasure chart so you can go do some more work to go get your reward. And so after the first couple of dungeons, I decided I'm not going out of my way to do anything anymore because this game is not rewarding me with anything good. Like the Great Fairies, when I went to go find a few of them, they were like, well, here, you can hold more bombs now. You can hold more arrows now. It's like, you guys give me bombs and arrows all the time, so I don't need to hold more. Man, I think I liked your idea, Mox, of like when you hit the kind of the middle of the game, if you had taken over the pirate ship, and like that was your ship, that would have been really cool. I think they could have done some cool stuff with that. Like your regular ship, if you do anything, like if you try to engage in combat at all, or like pull out anything if you pull out any of your tools, it's like, okay, you are no longer sailing. Yeah. You can't do anything anymore until you finish this combat encounter. And so it was just like, why would I want to deal with this? I'll just keep sailing on. Unless I'm in an area where I have to deal with this stuff. There were a lot of times when I would try to walk up to something to interact with it, and it would show me the action. It'd be like, press A to do the action. And I'd push A, and Link would do something else. And it was just like, what? It was kind of inconsistent, and I had that a lot, and I had to wrestle with it quite a bit. So in general, the controls worked fine, but there were lots of instances of like context-specific actions that just weren't working correctly for me. That drove me a little bit nuts.
I didn't have that experience, but that's interesting.
Okay. There are a few dungeons where you have to constantly play a song over and over again on the Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Which drove me nuts. Like, one, why make that command a song? And two, in here you can't just spam the inputs. You have to wait for the timing of each one, so each song takes longer to play, and it's just like, oh my god. I don't think the Wind Waker is a good upgrade to like the Ocarina. I didn't enjoy the dungeons. They were, some of them were fine, but I didn't get like a lot of pleasure from completing them. If anything, if I could describe this game in one word, it would be tedious. I really didn't find anything to be rewarding or fun to do. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the atmosphere. I think the visuals looked really nice, and I think the cutscenes were enjoyable. A lot of the people were really long-winded in their interactions with you, and were also kind of jerks, so I just stopped talking to people because it wasn't worthwhile. Yeah, there were also some areas where it was just like I would be stuck for a weird reason, and I would be like, man, I oddly wish I had Navi here to just like lock on and be like, Navi, tell me something about this enemy. And instead I had the King of Red Lions, who would be really unhelpful if I went to go talk to him, or Medley, who I'm just like, oh, I'm trying to do this dungeon with you, and she's not really explaining her mechanic very well.
She's so cute,
and she keeps interrupting me every 2 seconds to be like, hey, by the way, you want to use this mechanic that I'm not really explaining? So you had the annoyance of Navi without the helpfulness. trying to think if there's anything else that I really wanted to go over. Beetle sucks.
What?
He does not sell you anything good.
But he says thank you.
He's cool. He's a cool dude.
Okay.
He needs to sell some useful
He
stuff.
sells bait.
He sells bait.
And the pears.
Yeah.
Bait is okay. That is another
Oh
problem
my
I
gosh, the
had.
pears.
Very early on, they keep giving you these stupid rewards that are useless to you until later. Like, they give you a bait bag and a spoils bag and a picto box, and it's just like, dude, can I please have a heart piece or a sail for my ship or any sort of item that's useful at all? Like, what am I supposed to use this bait for? This is boring.
No,
as
you get
hell.
rupees. Rupees.
Or rupees, or they give you rupees, and it's just like, he's like, here, you can buy bait from me. And the previous few times that I had played, I never used the bait. Like, I never found a time to use the bait because I didn't get that far in. So this time I was just like, I'm not buying your bait, Beetle. You can go to hell. Eventually I had to use it, but it was just like, oh my.
Yeah.
I had a similar problem here as I did with Banjo-Tooie in that it was kind of withholding on the rewards. It was like, okay, you got to do the work to find where you then need to go do some more work to get your reward. And I really did not I did not like that at all. And so I just stopped going for the side content, and I did not have any issues completing the game by not going for any heart pieces.
But you did it.
Not a good Zelda game
But
for
you
me.
beat it.
I would give this. I beat it. Visually looks nice. Encountered some weird control issues, and I didn't have very much fun. I would give this like a 4.5 out of 10.
Holy
my gosh.
cow.
This Phantom Hourglass used to be my least favorite Zelda game, and now it's Wind Waker.
Dang. Okay.
This makes Phantom Hourglass look pretty good.
Wow. Well then.
Savage.
I appreciate. Oh, hold on. Side note. I appreciate that they tried something very different. I don't think it landed for me, and for probably some other people who try to play it now. But it is that for thinking about when this came out, it's kind of wild that they did a game like this at that time.
What I want to say too is that if you're like, Mox is the only one who knows what's going on. Austin and Tyler, they're I cannot believe they don't like this game. I would highly recommend playing it today. I would recommend if you're like, this is my favorite game ever. Okay, then play it right now. And then tell me how you like it. And it's still maybe your favorite, like most favorite game, and that's awesome. Good, that's great. But I think there are some like, the rose tinted glasses, right? Like
Yeah.
Banjo-Tooie, especially like that game, this game. It's not like this is a bad game. I think Austin's being a little harsh personally, but
again, this is my score of my personal experience with it. I do understand a lot of people like this game. Like you were mentioning Double Dash earlier, I hate Double Dash, but I do know that I'm in the complete minority on that. Like, I know that's like a universally loved game that everyone wants to be brought back. But so I know this is not my definitive, like, no, it's terrible, objectively terrible. It's just, no, I had a really bad time.
Some hot takes on this episode. Woo! Man, I never knew that about you and Double Dash, Austin. I feel like I have to rethink my whole friendship and everything.
Dude, 64 or die.
Oh my lord.
Wow.
All right. All right. Let's stop right there before we get carried away here. Next thing I'm gonna hear is that Austin doesn't like Super Mario Sunshine. All right, so
it's okay.
that was a little dive in our take on The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker with some spicy takes sprinkled in there. If you enjoyed side quests and want to participate in the next one, we had a vote in our Discord, and Death Stranding was chosen. So, start working on that. We plan to talk about it on January 2nd, 2022. That seems like forever away, but it's actually not, which is just, whew, time is just flying by.
I don't want to hear that.
And if you enjoyed just, hearing us discuss Wind Waker and want to join us for the next regular video game club episode, stay put, because our next vote just ended, and it was between Metroid Dread, Alan Wake, and Dead Space 2. And it looks like we have a tie. Oh my gosh.
What are we gonna do?
Between Metroid Dread and Alan Wake. And since I suggested this game,
No!
it's happening, Mox,
No!
whether you like it or not.
Ah!
I am going to pick Metroid Dread.
No!
Yo!
Mox, I really think you should give it a try.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
I don't like Metroid games, so this will be another Sonic whatever that was, but
You liked Axiom Verge?
I did. I loved Axiom Verge.
Yeah. This is,
Yeah.
it's like Axiom Verge 2, except, well, that exists,
Okay.
but, try it out.
3, 2.5, 1.5.
But yeah, so we're going to be playing a new game, which is exciting. We don't usually play new games except that Famicom Detective Club, but I don't want to talk about that.
And Death
That's true.
Store.
Death Store.
Ah!
Which was nice. But thank you everyone who voted. If you're not in our Discord, please join. Even if you just want to vote for Video Game Club, that's totally cool. We could use more votes, so we don't have ties like this.
Democracy.
Yeah, seriously. But thank you everyone for joining us. Again, just as a reminder, you can catch us here live at twitch.tv/Bombchu TV every 2 weeks at 2 Eastern, with the next stream being on October 24th, where we will talk about Metroid Dread. If you can't make the live session, don't worry your little heart, because you can find it up on YouTube and all major podcast services. Now, before we leave, is there anything that you guys want to plug? Starting with you, Mox. Anything you want to plug?
No.
No.
Have a good day.
Oh, have a good day. Make good choices. Austin, anything you want to plug? You want
Metroid.
Woo! Metroid Woo. Yeah. There was something that I was wanting to plug, and I cannot remember what it is.
Is it the Game Pass video?
Yeah. That's being worked on. Should come out. Hopefully. It might not. We'll see. I cannot remember, but just stay tuned. Austin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Mox, thank you for joining. Even though you've been crazy busy, I still appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Always. I'm Tyler. This was Video Game Club, episode 34, Side Quest 3, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Yes, we know the difference.
Wind Waker.
Oh, The Wind Waker, yeah. And yes, we do know the difference between Ganon and Ganondorf. Please don't add us. And we're out.